Well, this morning, Israel kills Hezbollah leader Nasrallah in airstrike. Updated 3 minutes ago. I just pulled it up, by the way. Israel kills Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah in a powerful airstrike in Beirut, dealing a huge blow to the Iranian-backed group as it reels from an escalating campaign of Israeli attacks. The Israeli military said Saturday it had eliminated Nasrallah in the strike on the group's central command headquarters in Beirut's southern suburbs a day earlier. Hezbollah confirmed that he had been killed without saying how. His death is not only a major blow to Hezbollah, but also to Iran, removing an influential ally who helped build Hezbollah into the linchpin of Tehran's constellation of allied groups in the Arab world. Arabs, the Lebanese are not. They are Canaanites. Of Tyre and Zidon, children of Canaan. A senior member of Iran's Revolutionary Guard's deputy commander, Abbas, whatever his name, was also killed in Israeli attacks in Beirut, Iranian media reported on Saturday. Now, Friday's airstrike, a succession of massively powerful blasts, according to what I've heard, bunker busters, that left a crater at least 20 meters or 65 feet deep, shook Beirut. Israel carried out further airstrikes on the area and more widely in Lebanon on Saturday. Now, I also read a report that now the Ayatollah in Iran is now going to go into hiding. And it brings me to, I was reading the other day, what was it, on Hal Turner's website, where he said that, remember the last time they went into Lebanon, that Israel went into Lebanon, they got their face bloodied. Folks, this time it's different. I'm telling you. And he and others are going to find out the hard way that the time for the persecution of Israel is over, that the time of the diminishing of Israel is over. I've proved it to you and warned you about it over and over and over and over again for the last 10 years on YouTube and the last few years on BitChute. And some of you still don't believe it, and you really do want to learn it the hard way. Then the hard way it shall be. Alright, and you can see it on the Middle East Eye, and now Khamenei urges Muslims to confront Israel, to stand alongside the people of Lebanon and Hezbollah and support them in confronting the usurping and oppressive regime. Usurping? Really? Must I remind everyone? Now this one right here is about, but see, the whole purpose, what happened here? There we go. What's going on? I go and put my pointer. Okay. The forgotten history of the term Palestine. Now, Henry, you're not talking about Palestine, you're talking about Hezbollah. The whole purpose of Hezbollah was a Shiite arm to so-called liberate, as they say, Palestine, as they say. Palestine is a curse word. And let me explain to you, or let Douglas Faith explain it to you. Some think that the Palestinian-Israeli dispute as a clash of nationalists. Others stress religious antagonism, while others yet see an east-west power struggle. But it is roundly agreed upon that a key element of the conflict is land. That land for many years, by many people, was called Palestine. Yet few people, including Middle East policymakers, journalists, historians, and even lexicographers, know much about the history of the name Palestine, or what territory it has at one time or another encompassed. The ancient Romans, invaders, usurpers, pinned the name on the land of Israel in 135 CE after stamping out the province of Judea's second insurrection. The Romans renamed the province Syria Palestinia, that is, Palestinian Syria. It is a Roman construct. It is a construct of invaders of the Holy Land. And those of you who prefer to call it the land of Palestine, you represent the Roman invaders. That's right. Usurpers. And yet you call the Israelis, you call the Jews usurpers. They did so resentfully as a punishment to obliterate the links between the Jews, in Hebrew, Yehudim, that is correct, and the province, the Hebrew name of which was Yehuda. Palestina refers to the Philistines whose home base had been on the Mediterranean coast, aka Gaza. It is widely thought, as reflected in my 1976 New College edition of American Heritage Dictionary, that the term Palestine refers to only the land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Countless books and maps say that Israel, in conquering the West Bank, but it's actually Judea and Samaria, and Gaza in the 1967 Six-Day War took control of all of Palestine, but that is not correct. The term Palestine is used for millennia without a precise geographic definition. That's not uncommon, and think of Transcaucasus or Midwest. No precise definition existed for Palestine because none was required since the Roman era. The name lacked political significance. No nation had ever had that name. Therefore, the name is a fraud. And those who use that name as if it's fact, they are frauds and enemies of Israel, enemies of Yehuda, and most importantly of all, enemies of the Moshiach and Jehovah Elohim himself. And yet, the term was meaningful to Christians as synonymous to the Holy Land. So who perpetuated the Roman construct? Who perpetuated the Roman invader construct? The Christians. That's right. The Christians did it. A great and horrible crime this is. Now he says it was meaningful to the Jews. That's synonymous with Eretz Israel, which is Hebrew for the land of Israel. But see, it is not Palestine. It never was Palestine, and it shall never be Palestine. As noted by the Palestinian author, scholar Muhammad Musli, the origin of the Palestinian nationalism, Arabic speakers sometimes used the Arabic words for Holy Lands but never coined a uniquely Arabic name for the territory. Philistine is the Arabic pronunciation of the Roman terminology. Palestine was also referred to as southern Syria because it was part of geographical Syria, wrote Musli. In the pre-World War I era, scholars also sometimes said Palestine was just a region just south of Syria. You see, so you have been informed of the Roman construct the name Palestine is, and that it is a fraud that continued to be perpetuated by Christians. Now, concerning, you might say that this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today, but I beg to differ. So what I wanted to do is the history of the middle finger, and alright, just for context. Before the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, the French anticipated victory over the English, proposed to cut off the middle finger of all captured English soldiers. Without the middle finger, it would be impossible to draw the renowned English longbow, and therefore they would be incapable of fighting in the future. This famous weapon was made of the native English yew tree, and the act of drawing the longbow was known as plucking the yew, or pluck yew. Much to the bewilderment of the French, and the English won a major upset and began mocking the French by waving their middle finger at the defeated French, saying, "See, we can still pluck you." Pluck you! Since pluck you is rather difficult to say, the difficult consonant cluster at the beginning has gradually changed to a labiodental fricative F, and thus the words often used in conjunction with the one finger salute, and also because of the pheasant feathers on the arrows used in the longbow, that the symbolic gesture is known as giving the bird or flipping the bird. But as usual, mankind has perverted the term to mean something entirely different, and I will leave it at that for now. So what I want to do is, I know you're probably asking, what has this to do with, just give me a few minutes, all right? Genesis 49. The blessing upon Yehuda. That's right, Yehuda. A brother to throw, to confess, to give thanks. Okay? Your hand shall be upon the neck of your enemies. Ab's children shall bow down before you. I believe this is in reference to the Moshiach. Yehuda is a lion's whelp. Now, I'm going to translate this differently than King James Version did because there is another scripture that points this out the way I'm translating it. His lions whelp from the prey. Son, you will ascend and bow down or fall down. He ascends and fall down. Stretched out oneself, lie down. A lion a great stout old lion, okay, will arise and stand up. So what this is saying, I don't care what you King James purists claim, Yehuda rises and falls and rises once again. The scepter, it does not say shall not depart. In fact, it says the opposite. To turn aside, to be cut off. The scepter cut off in Yehuda. It was completely cut off. And the lawgiver, or I should say, kakak, which means to cut in, foot. To cut in, inscribe, to carve, or maybe even to nail his feet. Until Shiloh come, and to him shall be the obedience of the people, that the people are going to obey. So this right here in verse 10 is concerning Yahoshua HaMoshiach. You know what you don't argue, because I'm going to Luke. Luke 2, verse 25. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Shimone. And the same man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel. And the Ruach Kodesh was upon him. And it was revealed unto him by the Ruach Kodesh that he should not see death before he shall see Jehovah's Moshiach, not the Lord's Christ. And he came by the Ruach in the temple. And when the parents brought in the child, not Jesus, but Yehoshua. That's what they named him. To do for him after the custom of the Torah. Then took he up in his arms and blessed not God, but Jehovah. I don't care what King James Version says, they don't take precedence over the truth. And said, Adonai, now let your servant depart in peace according to your word, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel. And Joseph and his mother Miriam, marveled at the things which were spoken of him, and Shimone blessed him and said unto Miriam his mother, Behold this child. Listen carefully. These are similar patterns of words that I just read from Genesis, Jacob's blessing upon Yehudah. This child is set for the fall. So they were once great, then falling, and the rising again of many in Israel. And for a sign to speak against. Well, who's speaking against it? The Christians do. Yes, the sword shall pierce through your own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. You're going to be exposed. All are going to be exposed. Where they stand. Nothing is going to be hidden. So, to Hezbollah, you're hard-headed. You don't believe the truth. You're going to be deported or die. To you Christians who claim the new covenant, you've rejected the new covenant. You have wiped your collective rear ends with the new covenant. To the whole world who hates Israel, pluck you. Israel still has their middle finger, and they just proved it in Lebanon yesterday. You wanted the hard way? Well, you got the hard way. And it's going to get significantly more difficult. You have no idea how difficult it's going to get. Israel is going to rise up from off the ground, from being sprawled on the ground and being cast away, the name forgotten forever, to rising up again, to all the people of the world are going to have to obey. Individually, some of you have an opportunity to go the easy way. I suggest that you do that, because the hard way is coming. And maybe you want to Google the FBI informant who Congress had in front of them yesterday, or was it day before yesterday? I believe it was day before yesterday, where he's telling the American people to have 3 or 4 months food supply ready. He said that in front of Congress. Now some of you are insistent upon learning things the hard way and not preparing yourself. Well, that's going to be on you. It's going to be on you. But the days of glorying against Israel is over. The days of Israel being forced to be in foreign lands, having the name of the land castigated and cursed with the name Palestine, those days are over. And y'all are going to learn the hard way. So the hard way is going to be